Another one published on the 11th of October is A Christmas House Wedding by Victoria James. This is published by Alcove Press. This is the second book in a series. I really liked it. I really, really enjoyed being back at Christmas House with all the characters we'd met in the previous book. Well, so I would say though that you need to have read the first book before you read this one. I think it's probably better. Yes, you could read this as a standalone, but I think having previous knowledge is a good idea. So Ruby, the grandmother, is getting married on Christmas Eve, and she is slightly excited about it, but she's also quite wary about it. And it's also trying to combine her family and her fiancé Henry's family together, which could prove difficult. Add to that, her granddaughter Olivia is back in Silver Springs, and she is going to be starting a dance studio. There is already a dance studio in the town, but she and the lady that runs that dance studio have got together and they've worked out so that Olivia will be running different classes to the other lady, but there is some crossover, but they will work together. She has found the perfect building and she has a contractor, and it's like, right, okay, let's get this going. And the contractor hums and haws and he's like, does a bit of work, and then it's like, and he eventually turns around and says to her with like 3 weeks to opening, sorry, I can't do the job. And it is like, it just absolutely floors Olivia, and she doesn't know what to do. But Ruby's best friend has her grandson Scott is a contractor, and so Scott will do it. And Olivia has had a crush on Scott for a while, and I think there was like a schoolgirl crush. And she's like, no, I can't. But she ends up having to. She's got no choice. And they end up spending a lot of time together, which was really, really nice. And he is really good for her. He helps when he can, and he gets everything the way he wants. His daughter is really fun. She'll come and help him, which was really nice to see, and she gets on very well with Olivia. Also, Olivia's wee daughter is young. I think she's about 3 or 4. Well, this kid is very straightforward in talking. She knows what she wants, and she will just say, or if she doesn't think something's right, she will say. She is so entertaining. It's really hilarious. I mean, there's one bit where they're trying to get her to do something, and Scott bribes her with a plushie, but he doesn't say how many. So she goes back with 4 and went, mine, and he's basically forced to have to buy these four plushies for her because he didn't state the number she could have, which I thought was hilarious. It was really good. She has them wound round her finger. I think she has most people wound round her finger. What I did also like was that woven through the whole story at the beginning of each chapter, you would get more of Ruby's story, her backstory, and more story of the wedding, and it was just woven so beautifully through the whole story. It was great. Really good characters. Yes, it's set at Christmas. It is not overtly Christmas, but you get a lot. You do get, you do get the feeling of Christmas, which I really loved, and I really liked, the build up to the wedding as well. Olivia's mother, I thought, was a bit of a pain. I didn't appreciate her, but I didn't appreciate her in the first book anyway, so that was nothing new. But no, I really, really enjoyed this story. This is one of these ones, curl up with the Christmas lights on, etc., and just immerse yourself in this book because it is just so, so beautiful. I would highly recommend it and the one before, so a really good Christmas book. Next we have, I think it's a romantic suspense stroke / intrigue. So this was superb. This just had me turning the pages like... So, this was Mills and Boon published this one, stroke Harlequin, and it was published on the 13th of October, and it's 6 Days to Live by Lisa Dodson. So in this we meet Coulter, and he and his group of commandos are on a raid for this private company because there looks to be an arms deal going down and they want it stopped. Also, there is a surprise at this meeting because there's also talk of a biotoxin, which is really not good. And something goes wrong in this raid that Coulter ends up being injected with this biotoxin. And he'd heard enough on, of the talk about it at the meeting that he knows he's only got 6 days to live. And there's only one person he wants to see at present, and that is his ex-fiancée Marina, who's a biochemist. Now, she was absolutely devastated by the breakup, and her heart was shattered. She has come out of the biochemist world. She is now running a store which sells jewellery, etc. But the day after he's injected, Coulter ends up on her doorstep, and he's really not a well man, and she takes one look at him and basically goes into what's wrong with you mode. When he tells her, she pulls out every stop she can to try and find a way to help him. However, there are people who do not want Coulter to recover. They do not want Marina to work out an antidote for this biotoxin. This was such a fast-paced book. I read this in a day because I just couldn't put it down. There were family dynamics in this book as well. You had Coulter's parent mother, who doesn't get on with her own father, and her father happens to be the owner of the company that Coulter was working for. So we have all this in the mix, and then you also have Coulter and Marina's relationship, and her friends not being happy he's back. You have all of this. Her father and her brother are not happy he's back. But in the end, they all have to work together to allow Marina the chance to come up with this antidote. It was brilliantly paced. I loved the characters. I loved the plot line. As I say, it just gripped me. And I haven't read an intrigue like that for a while that just really, really grabbed me, really, really, pulled me in. If you're looking for a book that is just going to draw you into the story, that, you just want to know exactly what happens next, this is it. This is the book. If you've never read a romantic suspense or intrigue from Harlequin / Mills and Boon, this is one that I would highly recommend that you start reading, because it's just so good, and I'm really glad that I read it. And I just want to say to Mills and Boon, please publish more of these. Please give your insiders like me the chance to read more of these books, because they are just so good. Yeah, I forgot to say at the beginning, I'm a Mills and Boon insider, so I get to pick a book every month that I want to review. And I just jumped on this one because I knew it was going to be exactly what I was wanting to read, and they don't put them out for insiders all that often. So please do so, because they are just such great books. And the last book that I have is Frost Falls at the Potting Shed by Jenny Kane. This is published on the 27th of October by Aria and Aries Publishing. I would really like to thank them, because they actually emailed me and said, look, we would really like you to review this book. Would you do it for us? And I just went, yes, please. So thank you so much to them. I really enjoyed this book as well. We meet Maddie. And Maddie has always worked with her father at the plant nursery that he runs called the Potting Shed. And we meet Maddie, her father, her sister Sabi and her husband at a meeting. And the meeting is to organise basically what happens to the potting shed, etc., and the house, blah, 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 if and when her father passes away. And they sort everything out, but unfortunately her father passes away before he can go to the lawyer to change his will. And we meet them, I think, a year later, and they're still reeling from their father's death. However, let's say that the will wasn't changed, so it means that Sabi and Maddie are now co-owners of the potting shed, and it's not doing particularly well, but Maddie has got ideas that she wants to expand the potting shed as she and her father had planned to do. However, there's very little money to do this. And Sabi is a social climber. I really didn't appreciate her. I really didn't like her to begin with. She is this social climbing woman who wants to keep up with the Joneses. And there's this house that she has always loved, and it's gone in the market. And unbeknown to her husband, she goes and sees this house at least 3 times. And without his permission, she puts an offer in. And the reason she's doing this is because she has been contacted by this big gardening company who want to buy the potting shed and its surrounding land, including, well, at the moment it doesn't include the house. Maddie could keep the house and a little bit of garden, but she's not allowed to do anything that the potting shed would do. She can't keep running the business because they want to build a big gardening centre, etc., opposite, and use the sort of the area that the potting shed is on as a storage unit. Maddie eventually hears about this and is basically given 3 weeks to prove that she can make a profit from the potting shed, or Sabi's going to she's going to sign that she wants to sell. Sabi's husband is really not happy at the way that she's handling this. He is, he's actually disgusted, as I was. I was disgusted by the tactics that the big conglomerate used. But Maddie has got backbone, and Maddie contacts the family lawyer. He can't see her, but he gives the job to his younger lawyer, Ed. And Ed has got gumption, okay? And Ed works out a plan with Maddie as to how she can pay back all her father's inheritance tax, etc., in instalments. He also suggests that she goes to the bank with a business plan, and to her sister with a business plan. Lets her see it, how they can, how she can run and expand the potting shed. She goes to her sisters, and they get into an argument. She leaves the business plan with her, and she goes to the bank, and it's a positive. There are lots of things that they can do to help. Meantime, in the background, Ed is working out something about the gardening company, because there's something about their lawyer that is ringing bells in his head. This was so good, because I'm not going to give the rest, but they end up working together. All of them end up working together to stop said conglomerate company. And it really did bring out the enjoyment with all of them working together, including Sabi. I think Sabi got a wake-up call, which she badly needed, because she really was a pain. I'm sorry, she was a pain. I loved Maddie. I thought Maddie was great. I thought Maddie, she was willing to fight for what she wanted, for what she believed her father wanted them to do. Once we understood the reasoning for some of Sabi's objections, I could understand why she was partly as why she was, which did help me begin to like her more. I loved Ed as a character. I loved the people that he introduced Maddie to, that became part of her and Sabi's plan for the garden centre. It was just so good. I really, really enjoyed it. I liked the gardening aspect. I liked the family aspect. Although I didn't like Sabi as a character, I gradually grew to like her. I loved her husband. I loved Maddie. I liked some of the characters that were brought in. It really was a really nice read, and one that I would recommend all the books that I'm talking about, but again, yeah, I would recommend this one as well. So thank you very much to Aria and Aries for reaching out to me. I'm really pleased to have read this book. So that's all my Netgalley books for October. Yeah, there've been loads. It was like, whoa. I'm really glad to have read them all. Would I recommend them all? Yep. I would definitely, some are probably, there are others that I like, some that I like more than others, but they were all, good reads. But please let me know in the comments, are there any of these that you fancy reading now that I've chatted about them, or have you read them already? I would love to know, and I'd love to know your thoughts. But I hope you've enjoyed this video, friends, and until my next one, stay safe and happy reading. Bye!